Hi, welcome to the podcast. I am Joe Posnanski, and with me is Michael Shore. Michael, welcome.
Thank you for having me, Joe.
You are welcome. So here we are. It's January, whatever, 8th, 13th. Is that right? Is today January 13th?
January 13th, correct.
And everybody knows what this means, what January 13th has meant for really more than 100 years, I think.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time when we begin our opening of baseball cards for charity podcast.
It's really a catchy name, isn't
It's
it?
a catchy name. I thought it's the opening baseball cards for charity for ALS. I think the official name is opening baseball cards to raise money for ALS.
The annual Joe and Mike baseball card pack opening extravaganza to benefit an ALS charity that we have chosen annually anew. Isn't that what it's called? I think
that is what it's called. I think. Remember when we added a new to it?
Yeah,
I think that was when
that was what really made it sort of memorable and catchy.
Yeah. That was the catchy part of it. So this began really as we wanted to open up baseball cards on an audio podcast because we thought that was about the stupidest thing that we could do.
Right.
And then somehow we connected it to raising money for ALS, and to our astonishment, it has been incredible.
It's worked.
Worked. I don't know. Nobody knows how. I keep going to these charities and talking to them, and they're like, "How do you raise money for them?" We're like, I don't know. So the way we do it is this. All right. So this began the first year. Everybody will remember we did it for Sarah Langs, and the first year we raised more than $125,000 for the Eleanor and Lou Gehrig ALCS Center.
Correct.
At Columbia University.
And just to refresh everyone's memory, they both conduct research into a potential cure for ALS and also propose rule changes that might be adopted in the ALCS.
That's right. And we mentioned it several times how far ahead the ALCS Center is than the NLCS Center, which is
the NLCS Center is garbage. It really is.
They haven't done anything.
They don't have a permanent home anywhere. They just sort of like, it's like two guys, and they're kind of like, they're throwing darts at a dartboard.
They're just like sitting there like, hey, what about adding the DH? Like literally,
maybe there's no pinch hitters or whatever. It's garbage. But the ALCS Center that we raise money for, cutting edge. They're very saber-minded. They're very advanced statistical analysis, and simultaneously are researching a cure for ALS. It's an amazing organization. Yeah,
doing amazing work. Research. They're amazing over at Columbia University. Last year we raised again more than $100,000 for Project Main Street, the Boog Sciambi based ALS, where they focused a lot more on not research, but focused on helping people with ALS and families financially and moving forward. And that was awesome. This year, so let me first explain who our charity is this year, and then we'll talk about how this works. This year's charity, super excited, is Team Gleason. You remember Steve Gleason, don't you?
Of course, yes.
Steve Gleason with the very famous block punt in the first game back after Katrina for the New Orleans Saints. Incredible guy, incredible focus. Team Gleason, they gave me a little one-pager here. By the way, if I said here because we are actually thinking about doing this as video, right? Are we going to actually do that?
That's the idea. So pause for a second, and we'll explain what Team Gleason is in a bit. But to refresh everyone's memory, for the last couple of years, we have opened baseball cards and then auctioned them off theoretically for charity.
Along with various other prizes, which we'll talk about.
That's right. And we've done it as an audio-only enterprise. So we had Tom Haberstroh came on, and we opened basketball cards. It was just like, it was what you would hear if you listen to the podcast was like the crinkling of a wrapper. And then you and I would go like, oh, and then it would be like,
we show each other the cards.
Yeah, Steve Nash or whatever, right? And we thought this was very funny. And apparently other people did too, because you very generously have donated so much money to these causes. But just in the name of like just propriety and just catching up with the times. The idea here is that we're going to actually release what we're recording visually right now, which is just two
Yes.
dummies staring at the camera, about to open baseball cards and holding them up to the camera. So that's the goal. Hopefully, this will work. If it doesn't work,
It might not.
then they might not. Then what you're hearing now is all you're going to get again. It'll
That's
just
right.
be two dummies that you can only hear opening baseball cards and
And
football cards.
I would argue there's a 68% chance that we will not get video up. I
That
mean,
seems about right. 2 out of 3.
that's
Look, I like those odds. Let's see if it
hey,
works.
we've done more with less, you know. So Team Gleason's incredible. So let me tell you just really quickly about them. They've provided over $50 million in adventure technology equipment and care services to people living with ALS and countless others through advocacy since its inception in 2011. Their mission is basically to improve life for people with ALS.
Right.
So it's very directly. It is not so much specific about research, but it's about delivering innovative technology and equipment, as well as providing an empowering and improved life experience, which is so incredible. And
Fantastic.
they wanted everybody to know that they are very much focused right now on Los Angeles and everything that's happening there. You know, when something, and Mike, you're obviously right in the middle of it all, but when something is so titanically tragic and horrifying, it's easy to lose sight of some of the smaller things that you wouldn't think about, like the people losing their homes, people are losing their lives in the fire. But people with ALS, I mean, this is a very direct challenge for maintaining life, you know, with ALS at this
Yeah, and
moment.
we talked about this a little last year with Boog. The day-to-day reality of managing life with ALS requires an enormous amount of time and money and effort. You have to build
Yes.
ramps into your home. You have to redesign certain aspects of just basic living. And so when people are displaced,
Yeah.
the overwhelming horror of it is so all encompassing that you don't perhaps start to think about like folks with specific special needs
Exactly.
of living day to day, including treatment and medication and ramps and all sorts of different things.
Everything.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Team Gleason is one of many organizations that we should all be falling to our knees in thanks for, because they take a granular look at folks in particular small communities who are even more affected than the
Yeah.
average person who when something like this happens. So yes, so all the money that we raise this year will go to Team Gleason. And
Yes.
just as a reminder, the way this works, and it works like a
Like a
it
charm.
works as
It
in
really.
quotes. Well, let's put the word works in quotes here. But basically, for the
Okay.
next couple podcasts, we are
Probably
going to
four.
open probably about 4, probably all this month in January, maybe a little into February. We are going to open different boxes of baseball, football, basketball cards, and perhaps other cards
Pokemon.
from different years, maybe some Pokemon, who knows? And we're going to just enjoy the players that we find. We're going to remember some guys a la David Roth, and we're going to enjoy it. And then what will happen is there will be a system, which Joe will explain maybe at the end of this podcast. You can explain it or something, or Matt,
Well,
I don't know.
I'll explain it very simply right now.
Okay.
So, here's what we're doing. We will be giving away, and this is Mike takes this on, which is incredible. We will be giving away. Last year we gave away 10 boxes. Is that right?
Right.
10 prize
I think
boxes.
so. I don't know. All I know is my office looked like it just was a hurricane hit my
It was
office
a
last year.
hurricane. So we
Yeah.
give away. So what we're going to do is we'll give away the cards that you want. You will hear some cards, and we might open some valuable cards. We got some interesting boxes this year.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll also, whether they're valuable to anybody else or not, they're going to be valuable to you because we're going to open. We're going to find your favorite players. We're going to give away cards this year. Like the first year, we'll be giving away books. We'll be giving away autographed copies of books.
Sure.
I will this year write a very specific essay for
Ooh.
yeah. There will be an essay. I'm saying there's one essay. Mike will at some point say it's 10.
Right.
We'll just get to that where we get there. But it'll be an essay about your favorite. It doesn't have to be it could be your greatest moment as an athlete. I don't care what it is. It'll be an essay, a one-page typewritten essay for you specifically that I will write. We will
Wow.
undoubtedly get a million other prizes. People always donate prizes. We'll have a whole bunch of things, and all you have to do to enter this year. This is think about all right. So this to me is the podcast breakthrough, probably the biggest breakthrough since we discovered microphones. I think,
Or that we could have guests.
or that we could have guests. Those are the two biggest breakthroughs so far. This one is right up there. In the years past, what we did was we said, please donate, then send us a receipt. And this year, all in one. All in one.
Wait,
You just go.
let's just revisit this for a second. This is you're an educated person. I'm an
Sure,
educated person.
sure.
We have a certain amount of basic acumen in the world.
I
The way
guess.
we were doing this was the jankiest
Oh, no, it's the worst.
system. It was what we would do is ask you to donate, then ask you to get a receipt, then ask you to email the receipt to some random email address.
That's
Then
right.
we would go through and keep track of all the people
That's right.
who donated. And it was just a mess. It was just an absolute mess. But we,
Yeah.
again, put zero thought into it. And so it took forever. But
Well, the
this year,
first year, you will remember, the first year, we actually created our own, like, charity webpage that
it was a
then,
nightmare.
remember? And then they were like, you're not even allowed to do what you're doing. Like,
Oh, right. It was like a GoFundMe situation. And they were like,
yeah,
you can't do this. You can't solicit money. It was just a disaster. But this year, thanks to Team Gleason, we have a whole new system that's so much easier. It's going to blow your minds.
it's going to blow your mind. All you got to do is go to teamgleason.com/podcast. Literally, POSCAST. Teamgleason.com/podcast. They are literally putting this up. I'm just getting emails while we're doing this saying that they are finalizing the link, so it will be up when you're ready to go. All you have to do is donate money, and then it'll send you to a page, and on the page it'll ask for your email and basic information, and on the bottom there will be a box, and in that box all you have to do is write who your favorite player / team is, and if you want a message to us, whatever that message is, why you donated, what you think about the podcast, what you want, how wrong Mike is about fruit pie. It doesn't matter what you do. We'll see the message.
How funny you think it is that Juan Soto jilted the Yankees for the Mets on a scale of 1 to 100. Anything you want.
Anything you want. How desperately you do not want a Derek Jeter card. Whatever it is you want to write in there. You can literally, the box, I think there's a limit in space, but fill it up. We don't care. But it's all in one. Can you believe this? What a breakthrough.
It's a real modern technology. Really is something, isn't it? So you'll write your favorite player or your favorite team or
both.
Anything you want.
Yep.
We're going to open and talk about a number of players, a number of cards, but also we're going to keep all the cards. So if we don't, for example, today I'm opening a box of 1985 Topps football cards. You may remember them if you're a collector. They're all black design. The name is, they're horizontally laid out, but the name is like vertically laid out on the right-hand side. They're beautiful. If the player was an all-pro, it says Topps all-pro in tiny yellow lettering instead of white lettering at the top, which is great. So we're going to talk about a bunch of the people that I find. But if your favorite player wasn't open, just still say that's your favorite player, your favorite team, because we might have found that card, and then we'll send you that card. And we're going to...
We'll send you stuff. Believe me.
We'll just send you stuff, yeah.
Here's the one thing that I can say. If you don't like baseball cards, well, first of all, why you're listening to this, but if you don't like it, then what Mike will be sending you and that I'll be sending to Mike will be a box filled with junk. Okay?
Yeah.
Just pure junk. If you love cards, if you love sports, and you actually listen to this podcast, it will be a treasure box. I'm just telling you, an absolute treasure box.
You're just going to get a ton of stuff. And
cool stuff.
We're going to recommend or ask for a donation of $25. But that's what we're hoping that you can do in these troubled times. But any donation of any size will get you entered into the lottery.
They put on there are I think 4 or 5 like recommended amounts to donate, and obviously the higher you go, the more we love it. I mean, please do go as high as you can go. But please click other if $25 is, just anything you
$5.
donate
Throw $5
will,
at Team Gleason.
will enter you in the contest, and we will be so proud to send you stuff when you win, because this is incredibly cool thing. So teamgleason.com/podcast. It's even an easy link. I mean, it's like super easy. I can't believe how easy Team Gleason made. They don't know what we do. Obviously, they they should have had us jump through crazy hoops.
Well, no, I don't think that's the salient point here. I think the salient point here is how stupid we've been about this in the past.
No, of course that's the
they're being great, wonderful. Thank you, Team Gleason. But I think the more important thing that we all think about right now is how torturous a process this has been until now. So that's the deal. TeamGleason.com/podcast. If you donate anything, you'll be entered into the lottery at the end of this month, or whatever the next
before spring training
sessions is.
Yeah,
before spring training.
Now, that is not a guarantee that they're going to get the box anytime.
No, it takes forever to get the boxes, because it takes forever for us to compile the stuff. Also, by the way, last year, so I assembled these boxes. I don't know, there were 8, 9, 10 of them. I don't remember how.
Yes.
The giant boxes filled with stuff, cards. We, someone said they're a Cleveland Guardians fan. We basically found every Cleveland Guardians card we could find, and we threw it in there. We threw in unopened packs of cards. We threw in books and hats, and Boog Shambi sent us, all this stuff. And then I send these things off, and then I don't know if they get there. I really don't know. There's no way to know. I get the addresses, and I address the boxes, and we take them, and it costs thousands of dollars to ship them, and then they're just gone. And I hope they got there. I hope by the way, here's a separate thing. If you've donated in the past and won, could you do me a favor and say in the message box, could you say like, hey, I won 2 years ago and I got the thing that you sent me? Because I literally don't know if anyone has actually received. And I would like to think that I did it correctly. Again, I feel like I'm a relatively smart person.
We heard from a couple of the people that
we did.
Sent. Yeah, we did. Okay. We got a couple of emails. You can email us always at podcast.
You can also email us. That's correct.
Podcastraffle@gmail.com. But this is going to be one-stop shopping for you. So don't even worry about it.
But I still don't think we'll know definitively unless the people tell us that they
No, I think people should definitely tell us. I'm just saying, look, I first of all, I have full faith in you to having get that done.
That's your first mistake.
That's my first. And then the second thing is, I mean, you spent enough money that like literally somebody should have just come to your house and just driven it directly to whatever person.
Well, one of them was local, and I believe my assistant last year actually just drove one of the boxes to the person's
Holy
house.
cow! So there you go. If you're in LA, you might even get a direct somebody coming to your house.
Knock on the door. All right, let's get going here. So let me talk about very briefly. Let me talk about the 1985 Topps football set. So there's a couple big cards in this set. Number one is the Richard Dent rookie card. Now, as a New England Patriots fan, Richard Dent haunted my nightmares for like 16 years because of what he did to Tony Eason and Steve Grogan in the Super Bowl that year. But a PSA 10 Richard Dent rookie card is like a $4,000, $5,000 card. It's a very, very nice card. Same with the Walter Payton. It's not a rookie card, but a PSA 10 again, like $4,000, something like that.
I guess it's because of 85 being just because of the 85 Bears, right? So is that
85
sort
Bears.
Of that's the essence of that set is the 85
That's right.
Bears. I gotta believe Marinos and Montanas and those have tremendous value.
So a PSA 10 Warren Moon, which is a Warren Moon rookie card, is like between $2,000 and $3,000, which is pretty awesome, and it's a great card. He's like squinting. He's like grimacing.
He is. I remember that card.
Yeah. The John Elway is like a $2,000 card.
I would pay $2,000 to destroy it.
They referred to Josh Allen. Jim Nantz referred to Josh Allen in the playoff game yesterday as the modern day John Elway, and I was like, "No, get out of here! He's so much better than John Elway was."
I hated that. I heard that too, and especially because Jim. Essentially, he's like, despite the size difference. I'm like, that's the only difference you can find between John Elway and
Boo. Dan Marino is again 2,000 plus.
What is the Montana? The Montana's got to be worth something.
Montana. There's a passing leaders card that has Marino and Montana on it. That's worth a lot of money. The Walter
Wow.
Payton record breaker card is very for most yards rushing in a career is a great card.
Yeah, it's a
He's
great
a
card.
full sprint. Fantastic. The Montana is like a $1,500, $2,000 card.
That's what I'm
Now,
saying. These are
yeah.
expensive.
Now, so let me say one thing about this also. If we get one of these cards or more than one, we also reserve the right to send them off to PSA or Beckett or something, have them graded, and then auction those off
True.
for charity.
True.
So
True.
if your favorite player is Richard Dent, but we get a card that looks like, oh man, this might be like a real winner here. I may say, no, we're gonna get this graded and then auction it off because that will allow us to raise more money for
And look,
the
the
charity.
idea here is to raise as much money as we can. That's obviously the idea beyond obviously just us being goofy and enjoying opening cards. So we'll do it that way. And we should say, look, if you want one of these super duper high priced cards, you probably would donate a bit more money to get it, I would think.
Maybe.
Right?
We'll see.
So while you're opening those cards, what I've decided, so I've got a bunch of different boxes, as do you, as we open these over the next few weeks. But I think today I'm going to stick with baseball because I originally was going to do basketball, but I think we're going to try to get our dear friend Tom Haberstroh to come back to do some basketball stuff. So I think I'm going to open. These are interesting cards. I don't know that much about them. These Archives baseball cards from 2024. Okay. Do you know much about these?
I know that they exist. Sure.
You know they exist. So I guess each card is a different year design.
Right.
So they're modern players and with whatever year design. So I figure it'll be fun. We'll open up like some players. I think there's some cards in here that are pretty valuable. There's some autograph stuff and I don't need to tell you 8 exclusive pink parallels. I don't need to say that to you. But also this way, Mike and I can talk about the actual year that the card represents. I think that'll be fun.
And I will also say, by the way, about the part of the fun of this 85 football set is that they have an all black border, and as a result, it's very difficult to find ones that are in good condition.
Like the 71 baseball tops, same thing, right?
Same thing. So that's partially why these PSA 10s are so valuable is because they're very rare.
So you will with your eye, you're gonna get what are those little monocle things called? Those little
jeweler's loop.
Yeah, you're gonna get out your jeweler's loop before deciding whether to send it off to PSA. Is that
fair? I know people who do that. Not joking around. But I'll tell you what I am going to do, which is I did a little prep for this, Joe.
Okay.
I know that we don't do a lot of prep for our
we do no prep.
But as prep for this, partially as a joke and partially for real, I purchased something. Here it is.
Oh, let's see it.
I purchased 5 pairs of white gloves, and I'm going to wear so as not to soil the cards with oils from my hand. I've got these white gloves, and I'm going to put them on.
Open each of these cards with white gloves.
That's right.
I really hope we pull this video thing off because this is going to entertain people to no end.
Bought some white gloves. Here we go. Putting them on now. There we go. Okay. And I don't know if I'm going to actually be able to open the cards with these gloves on.
They don't look like they're the best fitting gloves. Where did you get these gloves?
I don't know. I bought them on the internet. Okay, so I've now you can be assured that the cards will be opened with.
He's going to open cards and do a tracheotomy in the same set. All right, this is going to be great.
All right, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
You know what? You've been playing it up big, so I say you go football first, then we'll jump back into baseball.
Here we go. Let's see if I
can
actually do this.
There's the card.
Here we go.
God, it's those great old wax packs too.
Oh, it's so great.
They're the best. Wait, was there gum in 85 football cards?
Oh, Joe, was there gum? Here we go. I'm pulling the gum off with my white gloves. There's some what is it? 39-year-old, 40-year-old gum.
39-year-old gum, probably just as good as it was then, I would imagine.
I'm gonna say that I'm not gonna eat.
God, and those ruin the backs of cards, no?
Oh, completely, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
All right, so what do we got? Let's do it.
Mike Nelms of the Washington now Commanders.
Mike
remember Mike
Nelms.
Nelms?
God, those are. Can we talk for a second here? How beautiful those cards are.
Look how beautiful
Like
that is.
Topps
That's
really
just a
went. Like they tried stuff. It was
they
cool.
no one's better than Topps. Let's face it. Oh, here we go.
Okay.
Clay Matthews.
Oh, there you go. Clay Matthews, by the way, very big push now to get Clay Matthews in the Hall of Fame. How do you feel
Really?
about it? Yeah.
I
I mean,
mean,
was my hero growing up. I mean, he was one of my
I
heroes.
all I remember is him being great.
Yes. He was one of
Um,
those like super consistent great players.
yeah. Half of the most famous wide receiver duo of the
Oh,
era, Mark
yeah.
Duper.
Yeah. Mark Duper and
Look
Mark
at
Clay.
that. Look at his helmet. Look at this is the
What?
difference between 1985 football and current football. Look at that helmet. That is not protecting anything from anything.
No. You know what that looks like? Like remember when we used to go like to the little 25% vending machine and get
Yeah,
football helmets, plastic? That's what it looks like. It
it's
looks like just a
essentially what it
plastic
is. Yeah.
version of like big plastic
Do you
helmet. Yeah.
remember? I hope that we find a card that has one of those helmets like the kickers wore with just a single bar,
The one bar across,
just
those
one bar across.
the best. I love that kickers were like, nobody's gonna hit me. Like I don't even need a bar at all.
Here's the Oilers team card. It says eluding a traffic jam.
He's
Look at that.
not. He's not eluding a trend. That is actually very poorly. Looks like the Browns on defense there.
It is the Browns on defense, yeah, and
Yeah,
it's who would have been the Oilers running back
in '85.
in '85? It looks like he's number 30. Let me see if I have a
Let's see.
Larry Moriarty. Is it
Oh,
Larry
sure.
Moriarty?
Larry Moriarty. Good one. Good one.
Dexter Manley.
Oh, force.
Is there a better name for a defensive stalwart than Dexter Manley?
Manley. Yeah.
He was an absolute pass rushing terror, this guy.
He was a terror. He was an absolute terror. And like also very outspoken and talkative. I mean, he was a force.
He was the Draymond Green of the 1985 Washington Commanders.
Football, yeah.
Willie Tullis also on the Oilers. Do you remember Willie Tullis? I do not remember Willie Tullis.
I don't have too much of a. It looks like so. Is Willie Tullis a running back? What is Willie Tullis?
Willie Tullis is a cornerback.
Oh, corner.
It says the Oilers' leading interceptor in 1984. 52 tackles, 18 assists, 2 forced fumbles. His 95-yard touchdown on kickoff return versus Rams, 9-6-81, was 5th longest in club history. He played quarterback at Troy State and was Kodak All-American selection for 1980. Good job, Willie.
How about that? Willie Tullis, quite a career.
Speaking of Mark Duper, here's the Dolphins team card. It says Super Duper Performance.
Yeah.
There's
hey, Mark Duper was super duper. Now, do you think like the fact that his name was Duper, that helped him, didn't it?
Couldn't be better, yeah.
It couldn't be better, right?
Here's Stacey Bailey of the Falcons.
Vague
this
memory.
is
a little up. I can't see it. I can't see it.
Sorry.
Here we go.
Look at that Falcons helmet is the best.
It's the best.
The orange helmet with the black falcon swooping down. Why don't they go back? By the way, so many teams when they wore their throwback unis this year, I was like, they got to go back to this permanently.
Go back to this is so much better.
So much better. The Falcons wore this. The Broncos almost did it in the playoff game that they lost yesterday or whatever it was. They almost had the full creamsicle uniform.
Full creamsicle orange, yeah.
They had the orange pants and the white jerseys, which I don't like. But there's a version of that throwback uni where the Broncos look better than they do now.
Absolutely.
By far. But
I don't like the new Broncos.
That old Falcons. Oh man, that helmet is so cool.
It's the best.
Here's Byron Franklin of the same Buffalo Bills. Hold on a second. It's kind of hard to hold these with the gloves.
Byron's just happy. Just a happy Byron Franklin.
Byron's best outing of 1984 came in Bill's season opener when he caught 10 passes for 96 yards. Not bad.
He caught 10 passes in a game?
Yeah, apparently.
I'd have a T-shirt made.
Here we go. Harry Carson.
Oh, Hall of Famer.
Harry Carson.
There you go. There's a Hall of Famer. I bet that Harry Carson is worth something to some people. There's some Giants fans out there.
Looks like it's in pretty good shape. Here's Joe Jacoby. Joe
Oh,
Jacoby, the member of the Hogs. Wait, were the Hogs on offense or defense?
Hogs. Yeah, no, offensive line was the
Offensive
he
line.
was the key member of the
Yeah,
Hogs.
he's
In
so he's
fact,
a
Joe Jacoby is either Joe Jacoby is in the Hall of Fame or he's another one that people keep trying to get into the Hall of Fame.
yeah. The
I
Football
can't
Hall
believe.
of Fame needs to expand its membership by like 150%, in my opinion.
Yes. Oh well,
There
because
is a massive backlog of people who are waiting
yeah,
to get
Joe
into the Hall
Jacoby
of
is
Fame.
not in the Hall of Fame.
Not
Four-time
in the
Pro
Hall of Fame.
Bowler, two-time first team All Pro.
Ken Jenkins of the Lions.
Yeah,
Uh,
sure.
there we go, running back.
Looking pensive, a little pensive there, I
Great
would say.
mustaches in this era too, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, much
Oh,
better.
here we go. Stanley Steamer.
Oh, there we go. Stanley
The one,
Morgan.
the one, the one good offensive player the Patriots had in this entire decade. Stanley
Stanley
Morgan.
Morgan put up gigantic numbers for his time, but
Stanley
now they
Morgan.
look like nothing.
Now they look like nothing. Yeah, he had like 2,000-yard receiving seasons and was like, "Oh, this guy's going to the Hall of Fame."
Yeah, yeah. Back then, that was like, and they were sitting there talking about, and not to knock Saquon Barkley because he's incredible. He had an incredible year, but they were like, oh, he's the ninth guy to get 2,000 yards and whatever, and he's this, and he set all these team records. It's like, yes, and he did get 2,000 in 16 games because
Yeah.
he had it before going into 70. But it's still a much longer season, all right? I mean, it's just a much longer season.
Well, it was when did it go from 12 to 16?
Went from 14 to
14 to 16 rather, sorry.
78.
78.
1978 was when it went from 14 to 16. It went from 12 to 14 in like 1962, 3,
Okay.
somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Here's Bobby Humphrey of the Jets.
Oh, Bobby
Remember him,
Humphrey
wide
was
receiver.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good.
A lot of similar
Bobby
haircuts and
Humphrey, by the
similar
way,
mustaches.
Bobby Humphrey, by the way, in that picture looks to be 44 years old.
Yeah, they all do. They all look so much older. And then finally, Rich Ehrenberg of the Steelers. So this is his rookie card. He didn't amount to much. He was a running back.
How do you know it's his rookie card?
Because he only has one season of statistics in the back.
Rich Ehrenberg.
But I have why don't you go ahead and open you go ahead and open a pack, and then I have a football question for you that I've been meaning to ask you for a while.
Let's open up this pack of 2024 Topps Archives baseball cards. So we've got all right. So let's start off with Brian Reynolds. What year?
That's the 63 set, I think.
63,
right?
It doesn't.
I think so.
No, 60 isn't 63 with the little picture within the picture.
Is this 61? 61 maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Actually, it doesn't look old-fashioned enough to me.
No, well, they don't like degrade the photos in the way that they should.
Yeah, they don't. Although it does have on the back, it's got a little comic, which is very fun. Although the comic is just a guy going, game's over now, and then the next guy is hitting an ad 4, and then there's another babe. It's a very, I don't understand the cartoon at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me at all. Topps, do better. All right. Aslavis Basabi is, which I'm sure I mispronounced his name. Okay. Do you even know who that is?
It rings a bell, like from looking at a box score, but I don't.
I guess this is his rookie card, if for whatever that's worth.
Classic Ray of just a guy who like you barely have heard of, who probably had like a 2.5 win season last year.
Yeah, I was going to say just
like a middle infielder.
Okay, here's a fun one. All right, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
There we go, Vladdy.
That's super duper fun. And what is that? 69?
No, that's I want to say that's
or 70. 70, right? That's 70. Yeah, 69
yeah.
is also So 1970 card. Vlad has 2 3-homer games, 2 more than his Hall of Fame dad.
What is your prediction for where Vladdy ends up? Is he going to get traded? What's going to happen to Vladdy?
I think he's going to get traded. I think, although I was interested to see Toronto sort of make some moves a little bit this offseason, so maybe they're still sort of in the mix, but I think he gets traded. Here's my real question. How good is Vladimir Guerrero Jr.? Because we had back and forth about him.
Yeah.
Because it's like he was incredible. He almost won the MVP the Shohei year, right? The first Shohei year. And then he kind of started falling off, and you're like, his body type doesn't really age well. but he was kind of incredible
He
again
was
last
great
year.
again last year. I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I mean, it'll never happen, but the team that could really use Vladdy is the Boston Red Sox, because the Boston Red Sox have all their good hitters are left-handed.
Yeah.
Devers and Casas and Yoshida and Duran and like every single one of them is left-handed.
Yeah.
And they have
And
no.
you would think you'd want a right-handed hitter in Fenway Park.
I
Like
mean,
you
and
would,
that they let Tyler O'Neill go, and
yeah.
I don't know. I'm a little worried about how. I mean, obviously, most of the pitchers you face are right-handed, but
Yeah.
a lefties just cut through that lineup last year, and it's only going to get worse unless they can figure
Boy, if
something
they
out.
got Vladdy, they'd be pretty good actually.
Yeah, man.
That'd be pretty good. Here's Hall of Famer Mike Mussina.
Look at that. Moose.
1970s. And what is that face?
That's the face of like, are you really telling me to throw another cutter? He looks like he's like angry at his catcher. What?
He does. He's like disgusted by his
doing?
catcher's decision.
No, I'm not throwing that. What are you talking about?
Here is an own the game card. I don't know if these are good or these own the game, but this is Luis Arias.
Okay.
And is he going to get traded again?
I don't know.
It sure looks like he is. It
kind of looks like he is. I mean, that team is like on a knife's edge, right? Like they had an incredible second half, as we detailed here with our friend Justin Halpern.
Yes.
They had they had a magical run. They came up a game short of beating the Dodgers. And Justin and I have talked about this. I think if the Padres had beaten the Dodgers, I think the Padres would have won the World Series last year.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I mean, I really, truly believe for sure. I believe that they are better than the Yankees. I just think they would have cut through and won it all. And then that changes the whole franchise, right?
Yeah.
And now instead it's like
we got a lot of money going to a lot of guys.
All right. Speaking of this, here is to me maybe the best offseason pickup was the Cubs getting Kyle Tucker.
No one's talking about this. Kyle Tucker. We've also talked about this on this podcast. Kyle Tucker is one of the most underrated hitters in baseball. He's so good. He's so good. He's going to mash for them.
Kyle Tucker is not as good as Juan Soto, but he's like 90% Juan Soto or 90 or more.
He's 80% of Juan
Soto. No, I
don't think he's 90% of Juan Soto.
Look, last year in his this is the 2023 card. But last year, Kyle Tucker, let me look this up because, of course, he missed a bunch of games with injury.
That's the thing.
And so you don't know. But last year in 78 games, so half a season, he had 289, 408, 585 with 23 home runs. I mean, that's...
How many walks?
No, he doesn't walk. I mean, well, he did walk 56 times. I mean, he would have walked 112. I mean, I'm just telling you, I have a friend who's a big car collector. And he loves, like car collectors do, loves his Porsches or whatever. But his feeling is for a huge amount less money, like half the price or whatever, you could get a Corvette, and it would basically for 95% of the people that would be every bit as great, if not greater, right?
Right.
He's like the Corvette to the Porsche.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, he was a very underrated piece of those Astros teams that won.
For sure.
That went to the ALCS every single year. And I thought the Cubs getting him was an incredible move.
Incredible move. All right, here's Ryan Jeffers. What year? What cards are these? What are those?
Good Lord, that's something. It looks like something in the late '80s, early '90s that I don't recognize. That is an ugly design.
It's not a good design at all. I think this is when you get into the mid to late 90s when the thing started really turning badly. Ryan Jeffers and then Paul Goldschmidt. So
hey,
and where's Paul Goldschmidt? He's with the Yankees.
He's with the Yankees. Right? Yeah, we can't enjoy him anymore.
Oh, Paul, why? Why would you do that?
Why, Paul? Why?
Why, Paul? Why?
All right.
All right.
It?
That is one pack of Archives baseball cards.
Next pack of 85 Topps football.
What was your football question?
Oh, it's going to take you a while to answer, but you, as I understand, and I just found this out recently, you wrote a book about football.
Oh, you did? I thought I told you that.
I don't think you mentioned it.
Yeah.
So you always hear about the greatest game ever played. right?
Yes.
And that's the championship between the
Colts and Giants
Giants,
in
Colts and
58.
Giants in 58. Okay. That's not the greatest football game ever played.
Oh God, no, not even
Right.
close. Not even close.
So,
Probably wasn't the best game played that year.
right. So for like 100 reasons, it wasn't the greatest game ever. What was the final score of that game?
I
It's like
should know that
10 to
right off the
7
top
or
of my head.
something,
It,
right? Or like
it was more than that, but not a lot more. Yeah,
14 to
it
10 or whatever.
obviously went into overtime, and
Right.
they won by 6.
The question I have for you very simply is, what is the greatest game ever played?
I have an answer. I have an
Great.
immediate answer for the greatest game ever played. The
Okay.
greatest game ever played was the playoff game between the San Diego Chargers and Miami Dolphins in 1981.
Oh, okay. So I made a list in my head. Okay.
Okay.
So and obviously for greatest game ever played, kind of has to be the playoffs. So like that
It should be
54-51
the
Chiefs
playoffs.
Rams
Yeah.
game doesn't count.
Yeah,
whatever.
I mean, it's great, but
Right.
that's not. Yeah, I think it should be
So
playoffs.
the Dolphins Chargers overtime game. Kellen Winslow has like 400 yards
The
receiving.
comeback, the hook and ladder. Yeah.
Right. So okay, so that's an option. Then I would say the Patriots Falcons 28-3
Totally.
Super Bowl would be
Agreed.
in the mix, right?
Agreed. Yes.
I don't remember a lot of the details of the 20-17 Rams Titans or the Titans Super Bowl game.
I don't. It had a great ending. I don't think that was a great game.
Count, right?
I mean, it did have the one big, the big Kurt Warner touchdown pass
Right.
and whatever. But
what
look,
about?
Here's one that I think is maybe the greatest game ever played. Actually, even more than the 81 is that Steelers Cardinals.
Larry Fitzgerald with the long touchdown, and then the Santonio
Long
Holmes
touchdown,
catch.
the Santonio Holmes touchdown, the interception return, John Madden's last game. I mean, I write about this at some length in my book that I should have mentioned.
Yeah, that's an option. And then what about any of the other close Patriot Super Bowls? For example, you've got this is a game no one will probably remember or care about except for Patriots fans, but the Patriots Panthers Super Bowl was kind of incredible.
It's actually quite a good game.
Yeah,
quite a good game.
Obviously
the
David Tyree catch game, undefeated Patriots against the Giants with the Tyree catch, and then the last second victory or the
helmet catch game is definitely one of the great games. The thing about a great game is I think you need a lot of ebbs and flows. That's what makes that Chargers Dolphins game so great. Was Chargers go up huge, Dolphins look like they're out of it. Dolphins put in Don Strock as a backup. They come roaring back and have the incredible play before the end of the half. Then the back and forth second half, missed field goals, and Kellen Winslow dying 4 times during the game. I mean, so that to me is like, because of the back and forth. That thing about the helmet catch is that game was very good all the way through, but it was just kind of a close.
It was a little bit of a slog too. It was low scoring. I think part of greatest game ever played has to be the score's got to get up into the high 20s, low 30s at least in order to really feel like there's a lot going on.
But I'm glad you brought up that Panthers Patriots game, because like nobody thought anything of that Panthers team, right? Like that Panthers team who was the quarterback? Billy Joe. One of the Billy Joes was the quarterback, right?
No, it's oh God, what the hell's his name? It's
it was
Steve Smith Jr. was the 89-yard touchdown.
Who, by the way, I see around town all the time.
Really?
Steve Smith Jr. is just around town all the time.
Is it senior or junior? It's senior. Senior? Junior? I can't remember now. Anyway,
wait, is he senior and there is another junior?
I don't remember.
Junior, I think.
But also that game also had that nobody scored in the first quarter. It was like nothing of the first quarter, and it was like 10-7 at the half, and then it ended
14-10 at the half, and then 19-18 in the fourth quarter, which is part of what
which is pretty great.
Nate Delhomme, that's
Jake Delhomme, yeah.
Also a Billy Joe.
Also, no one remembers this at all, but Brady's leading them for the final touchdown drive to tie it. He threw this incredible pass to Troy Brown up the seam that was like a 35-yard gain or something that was put them in field goal range immediately, and it was called back for one of the worst offensive pass interference calls I've ever seen. It was just an insane call, and I just remember like everything was happening too fast. Part of the joy of the greatest game ever played vibe is it just like it's all happening too fast? Slow down. Everything needs to slow down so I can understand it.
That game is so great because it was like Deion Branch was incredible in that game.
Yeah, MVP.
Mushin Muhammad was incredible in that game. Like that game just had so many fun elements. That is an underrated candidate for the greatest Super Bowl ever played.
I agree.
For pure play, that's
for
right
just like for gameplay. Yeah.
For gameplay.
All right, here we go.
Right
Chris Hinton of the Indianapolis Colts.
Chris Hinton was very good. That's a multiple Pro Bowler.
Jack Reynolds of the 49ers.
Hacksaw?
Yeah.
Hacksaw Reynolds. There you go. So Hacksaw Reynolds
at the end of his career, he played his first year was 1970. He played forever, man.
Oh yeah. Well, he's in the Hall of Fame now. See, this is what I think. Yeah. So Chris Hinton, I want to start with him. He played in 7 Pro Bowls, and it's like nobody ever remembers him. Like that's that's all right. So Hacksaw Reynolds, Pro Bowler, only a 2-time Pro Bowler actually surprised. But 2-time Super Bowl champs for the 49ers.
Got 2 rings. Here's the Giants team card. Engulfing the quarterback is what it's.
Yeah, that's Lawrence Taylor flying over the top. Yeah, I assume.
Yeah, I assume.
Yeah.
Or Harry Carson, one or the other. No, it's Taylor. 56.
He was Superman.
Mosey Tutupu.
I bet Lawrence Taylor's 85 card is worth a lot.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Mosey Tutupu.
You loved him.
Loved Mosey Tutupu. Also led to one of my favorite announcer calls of the era was Costas was calling a game. It was a Seahawks Patriots game, and they handed off to Mosey Tutupu, and Costas's call was, "I've been waiting all day to say this. Mosey Tutupu runs into the arms of Moises Tuiasosopo." Raphael Septien. Now, Raphael Septien. Look at that. First of all, what a dashing gentleman.
A dashing gentleman.
Just an absolute stunner. Looks like a soap opera star.
Yes, he does.
Raphael Septien was one of those guys who, like, everyone knew his name because the Cowboys were always on TV, and they were
nonstop.
And it's such a cool name. Like
and he had a cool vibe about the way he
very
kicked.
Cool vibe.
Back then, there were different styles. But the other thing about Raphael Septien is, to me, he is maybe the perfect example of a guy that you thought was good, and now you look back on it and go, "Oh my gosh, he missed 40 field goals."
Well, this is the era when we gave an MVP award to
Mark Mosley.
Mark Mosley, right? It was like, and if you look at it, it's like he was like 41 for 48 or whatever.
Oh yeah, no, he wasn't even that good. It was not even close because it was a strike year. So it's like you look at his numbers now and they're just like terrible.
He missed like 3 extra points. All right, Pat Ryan of the New York Jets.
Pat Ryan, a fine backup quarterback to Ken O'Brien.
Pat Ryan.
They had the Ryan and O'Brien group, right? Like that was like. There was a big argument among Jets fans who should start, whether it should be Ryan or O'Brien.
How long?
I love that they rhyme.
How long have the Jets been trying to find a quarterback? Literally since the days of Pat Ryan. Here's John Riggins. Big John Riggins.
That card's got to be worth something right there.
Yeah.
There's a Hall
Looks like it's in pretty good shape too.
Look
John
at Riggins.
Remember that SI cover with him on the cover after they won the Super Bowl?
Oh yeah. Well, Riggo was, that was one of the things I found in this book that I've been meaning to mention to you. Riggo's playoffs, that whole playoff leading up to that Super Bowl with the Dolphins, was incredible. He carried the ball like 35 times for 4 straight games. It was absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, that was their whole offense.
I had to look this up. Here we go. Mark Mosley, the year that he made 20 of 21 field goals, which is good, I guess. I mean, it was.
I'm sure his long was like 44 yards, though.
His long was 48. Good guess. He was 16 of 19 on extra points.
Yeah, at a time when extra points were the ball was snapped from the 3-yard line.
Yeah, it was just literally right in front of the goal line. They're like, that guy is the MVP. Like, there's nobody else. Wes Chandler had like 1,200 yards in 9 games. They're like,
oh yeah. Wes Chandler, that's right. He was on pace to like break. He would have broken like the all-time receiving record by a million miles. Yeah. And no, let's give it to the kicker. All right, we got some Browns for you here, Joe.
Yes, I'm excited.
Here's Reggie Camp.
Oh, Reggie Camp. There's a force. Actually, he was not really a force, but huge guy, man. Reggie Camp, very big.
And Chip Banks. Now, Chip Banks was a Pro Bowler.
Chip Banks was. There was a stretch of time where everybody was trying to get the next Lawrence Taylor. Yeah. So the Browns version of that was Chip Banks, and the Patriots version of that was
Andre Tippett.
Andre Tippett. Everybody wanted their own Lawrence Taylor.
And Andre Tippett was a black belt in karate. That was what everyone knew in New England about Andre Tippett, was that he was a black belt in karate. I don't know why we knew that, but we did.
But here's the thing. Did Andre Tippett need to be a black belt in karate? Nobody was going to mess with Andre Tippett, even if he knew nothing about karate.
just in case you had the foolish thought that you might mess with Andre Tippett, NFL linebacker. It's like, oh no, we shouldn't mess with him because he's a black belt in karate.
Black belt in karate.
Here's Brian Hansen of the Saints.
Oh,
the punter, remember?
Brian Hansen is also a handsome man. Look at that. Boy, kickers in those days were dashing, weren't they?
It looked like he looks like he's on Remington Steele or one of those shows, right? Like
he does. He's like, he's not exactly the comic relief, but he's just like the handsome guy that just shows up.
Yeah, he's like Face on the A-Team. That's here's another Brown for you, Paul McDonald.
Oh, Paul McDonald. So Paul McDonald was the backup quarterback to Brian Sipe, and then they said, okay, let's make him the starting quarterback. And late in one game, he threw a pick six. That's literally the worst pick six I've ever seen in my entire life. There was no receiver anywhere near where he threw it. And that was it. That was literally the last throw he made for the Browns. They were like, yeah, we never, ever want to see you again.
Oh, that makes me sad. Doug Crosby of the Cowboys, the big tight end, Doug Crosby. Also a handsome gentleman. Look at this. Look at these guys. These guys are
good-looking men.
Good-looking dudes.
But boy, this is a good reminder with Raphael Septien and Doug Crosby is how fairly average players just became so much a part of our consciousness because the Cowboys were inevitable. They were everywhere.
Yep.
You couldn't get away from them. I guess that's still true.
Here's Herman Hurd of your Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, Herman Hurd, good player. Fine player.
Yeah. And now, here we go. It's a Richard Dent rookie card.
No. Show it to us.
There we go.
Oh, look at that. All right. It looks cut pretty well.
It's a little off center, I'm going to say.
Maybe a little. It's not going to be a 10.
Yeah. But look at that.
And by the way, that's a great card, right?
Like, look at Topps All Pro up there in the yellow letters. Oh,
that's great. And also the picture is so wonderful. It looks like the photographer snuck up on him and never told him that he was taking his picture. It just looks it looks so great.
And I have to take my gloves off. I'm gonna put this in a sleeve.
All right, so Richard Dent immediately goes into a sleeve. As a reminder, you can win that Richard Dent card, right?
Potentially, if it or we'll get it graded and auction.
But should we get that card graded? I mean, like
maybe. I have a friend. My friend Jeff is sort of an expert in this stuff, and I'm gonna probably in some of these I'm gonna ask for his advice on whether we should get these cards graded or not. And he'll tell us.
And by the way, if you want to donate a huge amount of, should we do it? If somebody wants to donate a huge amount of money, they can just get the Richard Dent card. Like, I mean, like they're Bears fans or something. We'll at the end of this. We got 4 of these episodes to figure it all out. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. If there's going to be a special dispensation for people who would like to get the high end card. Okay, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
So wow, so that Richard Dent card
exciting,
was not. It was exciting. We got Richard Dent card. The Richard Dent card was not the one affected by the gum, was it?
It was not. No, it's got a clean back. It looks like it's. I'm going to say it's a little. It's slightly off center, so I don't think it's going to be
a little too high, right? Like a little.
Yeah.
That's
well, also the back. If you look at the back, there's a little more space at the top than there is at the bottom.
That's what I'm saying. Like a little too high there.
Yeah.
All right. I got to say, it never, ever stops surprising me that this is what Spencer Strider looks like.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
By the way, when you show these cards, it's great because it reverses them in the camera. So it looks like he's a left-handed pitcher there. Spencer Strider. No, there's nothing fun about Spencer. Like, if you're going to do it, put some fun stuff about them on the back. Instead, there's just some sort of weird comic strip where a guy's throwing the ball and he goes, look out, and he almost hits the guy in the head, and then the umpire calls strike. So I don't know what that is. But Spencer Strider, by the way, how good is Spencer Strider going to be this year?
I mean, it's just health. It's just health with him.
Yeah,
But
it's always.
I mean, his ceiling is as high as it gets, right?
I think it is.
His ceiling is Cy Young Award winner, so
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Jonathan Clase.
Hey.
Yep, there you go. Got that
not
one.
Not the best Clase in the league, but a Clase.
And not related to the other Clase.
Is he not? I assumed that he was not, but
I don't think he is. Toronto Blue Jays outfielder.
All
right. This is the first of these cards that I really like what they did with it, because Brett Rooker does look like he played in 1969, 1970. I mean, he looks like that, So
does.
That's kind of good. How many teams screwed up on Brett Rooker?
I mean, all of them.
He
was a Padre at one point, right? I think
he was a Royal. Literally, he was a Royal. They released him. They just released him. I mean, it's like the Twins had him.
By the way, one of the weirdest things we haven't talked about, because we haven't done one of these in a while, is the Sacramento A's suddenly spending money. What's going on there?
Well, I think somebody was explaining this to me, that they have to. Like, to prevent a class action lawsuit or something. I mean, like they've got to spend some money.
They gave Severino like $70 million. They gave Rooker $60, right? I think.
Yeah,
I mean the Rooker deal is incredible, by the way. Like, assuming that he is the guy he was last year, they gave him like $60 million for 4 years, something like that. I don't know, something.
But almost all of it, they was under the control, right? I don't think he signed away any.
No, but he is like 30, so he probably was like, yes, I will take I won't risk getting all the way to my free agency or whatever he needs to get to. Like, I think he was eager to cash in to some extent, but if he's the guy he was last year, it's an incredible deal for them.
My gosh. I mean, it's hard to imagine. You look at him, he hit last year 292, 363, 562.
Yeah,
with 39 homers, 112 RBI. And
he was a legit top 5 MVP candidate.
Top MVP, yeah. You know what? They only signed the earliest he could become a free agent is 2028, and he was 30. He'll be 33 then.
33, like
that. Yeah, it's 33 or 34. So, yeah, good for him.
Yeah, man.
To do that, but yeah. Speaking of guys that look like they belong in another time, Logan Webb.
Logan Webb is, what decade is Logan Webb from? I think he's from like the 1910s or something. he's like from a long time ago.
He's Three-Finger Webb is what he is. Yeah.
He's Mordecai Three-Finger Brandon Webb.
It's really quite incredible. I mean, he is like the one guy out there that like barks at managers when they want to take him out of games. I mean, like, he's just like, I'm pitching. I don't get out of my way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wants to throw 400 innings next year.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best that there's still somebody like that. Okay, here's an at the break card, which I don't understand, but it's Tariq Skubal.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And this, I guess, technically, this is a 2024. So this is Tarek Skubal's Cy Young card, right? Like,
yeah.
Don't you think that should be like, and it's an at the break.
It's not numbered, is it?
Is it numbered? It says a number on the top, but I don't think it's numbered. No, it says 95 ATB 9 at the top.
Yeah, that's not, but it's not out of 25 or whatever.
No. Yeah. No. And it's not autographed, but but still an incredibly cool car. Is O'Neil Cruz going to become a star, or is he not going to become a star? What is happening?
I'm hopeful, man. He's one of my favorite baseball monsters. There's a lot of baseball monsters right now, right? There's a lot of like 6'8".
A lot of Ellie De La Cruzes.
A lot of Ellie De La Cruzes who were just like super athletes. He was one of the originals. He throws 108 miles an hour from across the diamond and and jumps 12 feet in the air.
Center field, right?
Now they moved him. Yeah, I want him to like take one of those crazy leaps and become a all-star, borderline MVP candidate. That would be cool for the Pirates.
It would be. Shane McClanahan, just another Ray.
Classic Ray.
Ray. And then weirdly but delightfully, there's just a Hank Aaron card in here. Just a
Hey, look
little
at
Hank
that.
Aaron card. I don't.
God,
It's
that
kind of a
design is
weird.
terrible. What year is that? It looks like that. It looks like it's from the era when like the Orlando Magic showed up. You know, it's got like teal and orange and red and
Yeah, it was like maybe someday that'll come around. The other thing about it is like this purely this style, too much picture.
yeah.
Too much picture, not enough like goofy fun stuff on it,
Also,
just like
where is that? That's like spring training or something, or what? Like look at the background. It's got like a chain link fence. He's
you
playing
got a
little
chain link
league.
fence in the background. Yeah, no, it's a very strange. It's a strange card. All
All
right.
right.
Okay, you want? Let me open one more pack here so I
All
can
right.
catch up a little bit with you in the number of cards. Since in these days there are only 8 cards to a pack, and back then they put like 47 cards to a pack, which is way better. So all right, so let's run through them here. There's a Jose Altuve card.
All right.
I guess that's 62. I guess is what that's supposed to. They don't look exactly like the old cards, though,
They're
do they?
pretty close though.
Edouard Julien.
Okay.
Okay.
The most French name in Major League Baseball by far.
Right.
Edouard Julien.
Julien. Yeah. Yeah, there's your Aaron Nola.
Aaron Nola.
So is Aaron Nola great, good, or meh?
Those are my options.
Those are the only 3 options.
He's
great, good, or meh.
definitely good, and he's
Okay,
borderline
so
great.
you put
I
him
think.
between good and great, though. You don't put him at great.
Yeah. No, I think he's again, ceiling is certainly great.
But I guess at some point the ceiling is gone. Like he's 30 now, right? Like he's closing in.
Yeah,
on 30,
but I mean, look, Verlander just signed again with the Giants, right? Like you can pitch until you're 40.
Yeah, you can.
I
You
think
can.
look if
I
I told you right,
Verlander signing, by the way.
I don't know what they're doing over there. If I told you right now that in the next 5 years Aaron Nola is going to win a Cy Young award, you wouldn't be shocked.
No. But my question is, will he win a Cy Young award in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Yes, I'm going to say yes.
Oh, interesting. I say no.
He's going to win the 2029 Cy Young award. Aaron Nola.
I think Wheeler has surpassed him as like sort of the dominant pitcher on that.
We'll see.
So.
Go ahead and hold me accountable in 4 years.
When we do this podcast in 2029, I mean, the first thing I'm going to say is, what happened?
What do you got to say now? Sure.
Here's Josh Young right there.
Sure. How many Youngs are there? It seems like there's 5 or 6 Youngs.
There are a bunch of Youngs. Are they all related or none of them related?
No, I'm sure there at least some of them are. There's Jace Young, Josh Young, Jim Young,
Jace Young. Are you
Jail Young, Jorge Young,
Cy Young? There's just a bunch of them.
Carl Gustav Young.
I got a card that Mike Schur is going to desperately want and going to go ahead and he is going to donate.
Great.
Look at this. Look at that beautiful
Sedan.
Rafaela. Sedan.
This is one of the big questions for the team next year is like they've got Rafaela, who they apparently said they're gonna play in the outfield he moved all over the place. He plays short.
He can play everywhere.
He can play everywhere, but he's best in the outfield. And but like he didn't have an amazing offensive year as a rookie last year, but he did have like 70 RBI hitting in the 9-hole.
I think he's good.
I think he's good.
He's really good.
Yeah, I think there's a version of the 2025 Red Sox where like they're offensively are so good, and if Crochet is real, and if like Walker Buehler has anything in the tank, like they've got a shot. Like the future is brighter right now, and then they've got Roman Anthony and all these guys coming up.
They've
Marcelo
got
Mayer
a bunch of guys coming up, but what I like about them, look, I would have loved to see them land one of the big ones, right? I mean, Crochet was good, but I would have loved to see them. But that said, I like the bets they made. Like there are teams that made bets that I don't like the bets they made. I like betting on Walker Buehler. I just like that bet. It might not turn out at all, but I like that bet.
It might not, but like Crochet is pretty young. He's pretty young. He's got 2 years of team control. When he's pitching, he's
incredible.
Yeah,
he could be absolutely.
He's a legit ace. Like they still have big bullpen problems, but
for sure. Yeah, I mean, but I don't that division just like the Orioles just didn't do anything.
Again.
And
The Orioles are the Hamlet of the American League. They just are racked with indecision, and they're just paralyzed, and they don't act. It's insane.
it's nuts.
It's
All right, Patrick.
if they squander, let me just say this. If they squander this is going to go down as one of the all-time talent squanders in the history of
Absolutely. It's
baseball.
already feeling that way.
Yeah.
And look, they might end up being great because they just have so much talent, young talent.
They won
but
100 games 2 years ago, and they've
I
done
know.
nothing for 2 years.
I know. They did nothing.
God.
It's just like, what a. Ugh. All right, Patrick Bailey.
Sure.
Giants always have the same guy at catcher, don't they?
Always.
Like they always have like the same, basically same guy. Trey Turner.
What happened to him,
thought Trey
man?
Turner was going to win an MVP. I'm not sure about that anymore. Like I really, really thought he was a future MVP.
I mean, as a guy who just looks, in terms of like athleticism, who's more athletic than Trey Turner?
Nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever done anything like that slide. Like the slide that it's the greatest thing ever. And speaking of the greatest athletes of all time, there's Byron Buxton for you.
Hey, Byron Buxton. Can he please stay healthy for 1 full year?
Please. But here's the thing. Even if he does, like, you look at that card, you look at that Byron Buxton, that's not the same Byron Buxton that, like, 8 years ago was just, he was Eric Davis. He was just like the most incredible
That's a great comp.
World,
he was Eric Davis.
All right. What do we got?
All right. Oh, Darryl Talley.
Ooh, Darryl Talley. There you go. But you're getting a lot of Bills. I got to say that's
a lot of Bills, a lot of Browns.
We've got a huge Buffalo contingent listening to the podcast always.
Here's an incredible 80s football name, Lyle Alzado.
Oh,
look at that guy.
Former Brown. He played for the Browns before he went to the Raiders.
That guy was so scary. So scary.
He was the scariest guy there is. I mean, like that was like he was back in those days, which was kind of fun. Like you would have Lyle Alzados that like they lived a life to be scary. Like it wasn't just on the field. They like lived like they.
Well, that whole Raiders team,
crimes they committed. Yeah. No.
That whole Raiders team, Ted Hendricks.
Oh yeah.
And Lyle Alzado, like
Lyle Alzado, Howie
so
Long.
scary. Gary Fensick, another.
There you go. 85 Bears.
One of the
maybe the best dancer in that 85 Bears video, wouldn't you say?
I would say he's up there. Yeah. Leo Wisniewski of the Colts. I don't remember him. I vaguely remember
I have
name.
vague memory of Leo. It's a great name. It's
a
great football name, Leo Wisniewski.
Oh, here we go. Tops All-Pro.
Oh,
Art Monk.
Art Monk. Did Art Monk finally ever get into the Hall of Fame? He did, right? Like finally I think they finally. That's Football Hall of Fame is so weird. Like nobody knows who's in and who's not. I'm fairly sure that like finally, he finally got in. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Here's Johnny Cooks of the Colts, another Colt.
Johnny Cooks, I think, was another of the attempts to get a Lawrence Taylor. I think Johnny Cooks was a linebacker. Am I wrong about that?
No, he was a linebacker.
Yeah, I think he was another one of those guys.
Here's another terrifying presence, Dan Hampton.
Oh, Dan Hampton. Dan Hampton is still pissed off about the 85 Bears shuffling crew video.
I know. He's still pissed off. And also in my opinion, he was the MVP of that Super Bowl. Like he had Dent was more famous, but Hampton had the fumble recovery, I'm pretty sure.
And he couldn't block him. Like they were double and tripling him. That was what was freeing up Dent, was that everybody had to just take up Hampton.
Man, I'm all over the 85 Bears here because here's Matt Suhey.
Oh, Matt Suhey. Is Matt Suhey, like, look, everybody knows, like, the most famous Bears, like, the most famous guys, like Ditka or whatever. But is Matt Suhey the most Bears of all of them?
He might be. Definitely the most Bears-looking guy of all time. Yeah. He basically was like Mike Ditka. He looks like Mike Ditka.
He looks like Mike Ditka. He looks like he was in the Bears sketch.
Did you, as I did when Hideki Matsui showed up, all I thought about was Hideki and then two names, Matsui. That's all I thought about for like a year. And then to balance out the Super Bowl, here's Craig James.
Oh, Craig James.
Part of the Pony Express.
What happened to Craig James, the announcer? It didn't go well, right? Like, didn't he have some sort of controversy or something?
Yeah, he did. I think maybe not a great guy.
Okay.
Well,
it's And
Let's
Craig
not
James
look
was
into
also
that.
part of the SMU death penalty team, right? Wasn't he?
Yeah. It was him and
Yeah.
Dickerson. Yeah, the Pony Express. Yeah. Here's Al Baker of the then St. Louis Cardinals. This is how old these cards are.
Al Baker.
Don't
Wow.
remember him at all. Defensive end.
Yeah. No, don't remember. Not really.
By the
No.
way, these packs also have these stickers in them, these yearbook stickers. Here's a John
Oh,
Elway
look at
sticker.
that! Yeah, can you send that to me? I'd like to burn that. I'd like to destroy
James
that.
Wilder. Now look at those Tampa Bay Bucks
best.
uniforms. They should go back to really they should go back to the full creamsicle of their uniform.
Well, but they need to go back to everything of it. Look, if the Bucks had been wearing those uniforms yesterday,
they would have won
the playoff game. They would have won.
Yep.
Yep.
Here's another super duper performance. So I've got 2 of these now. If you're a Dolphins fan, go ahead and claim your super duper.
You'll get both of
card.
them.
The Browns team card says evading the defensive pursuit.
Let's see.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, he is definitely evading.
Biner?
Who is that?
Biner?
Is that?
It's
I
number
don't think
30.
that's Biner. It could be Biner. I don't think it is. That looks like Fontenot.
Is it Boyce Green?
Oh, Boyce Green. South Carolina's Boyce Green. Unless I'm wrong about
that. You said it with such confidence, though. Here's Doug Martin of the Vikings.
Yeah, Doug Martin was good. Doug Martin was a good player.
Yeah, all these guys
again looks very old.
Yeah, Doki Williams. He's a wide receiver, wasn't he? I think for the.
I think he was one of their like super fast guys that didn't end up doing anything. Am I wrong?
He had 22 catches for 509 yards. That's a
23 yards a catch. Average, yeah, he was their deep threat. Doki, the deep threat.
And then Kenny Jackson of the Eagles.
Kenny Jackson was very good.
He was very good. Yeah.
Look
at that. Another handsome gentleman. Look at
Kenny
these guys.
Jackson is a good-looking man.
Kenny Jackson was a good-looking dude, man. What is going on with these players? This is the handsomest set of football players I've ever seen on these cards.
Yeah, those are good-looking people.
My goodness.
All right, let's see what we got here.
We probably have time for one more pack each.
I think one more pack each sounds like a plan to me. All right, let's see here. All right, these are. I would love to get like one of these special cards that you're supposed to get here. Here's Jordan Walker. That's not that special.
What? Okay, Jordan Walker. What's going on? What do we got?
What's going on with anybody on the Cardinals?
Yeah.
Any prospect on the Cardinals, I don't get.
I just felt like Jordan Walker was about to become like, superstar. Willie Mays.
Yeah, no, totally agree. And it just didn't kind of work out. All right, here's Mike Piazza. There's Hall of Famer Mike Piazza. Well, you know what? We'll give this to Sarah Langs.
Yeah.
Sarah, of course, is the inspiration for all of this. And we might be working something out where we might ask Sarah for some help on something with Team Gleason. So
all right.
That would be really great. Here's Mickey Mantle. Look at that.
Mickey Mantle.
But why give us a Mickey Mantle card based from the time when Mickey Mantle played? I mean, he didn't play in 70.
Why not? Why not do that?
Look at Mickey Mantle. Look. I mean, did they want a picture where it looked like he was hungover? Was that like the idea?
I don't think they have a lot of options, frankly.
You probably did. They probably looked at 20s like he looks the least hungover.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Dalton Varsho was a tremendous defensive outfielder.
Dalton Varsho is underrated player.
Underrated, just because he's so good defensively. Is Jake Berger underrated?
Jake Berger is underrated. He's maybe the only all-star quality player on that in terms of a position player on that Marlins team, right?
Oh, not nobody else is even close as far as I can tell. Oh, here we go. Corbin Burns.
There we go.
What is this called?
Own the game.
Own the game. Own the game card. Okay.
All right.
So there. All right. That's something. I was promised 2 autographs and 8 exclusive pink parallels, but I don't believe I've gotten any of those. How do you know if what a pink parallel looks like? Have you ever opened any of these?
It's pink.
No, the whole card is pink.
The whole card is pink. Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't missed one. I haven't opened one up.
No.
I mean, Sandy
Koufax. There we go.
Right. Look at that. That's
with that terrible design again, though.
Terrible design, and not a weird picture choice. Like, too much picture.
I don't mind that because that's Dodger Stadium. It
is Dodger Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Sandy Koufax, I might keep that one. That's great. And here is the modern day Sandy Koufax, Johan Santana. Yeah.
Doomed. You can tell if you look at that card closely what you see in his eyes is what he's thinking is I'm going to win the Cy Young Award and then lose in the playoffs to the Yankees. That's what he's thinking. There's almost like there's a thought bubble coming out of his brain.
Unless he is facing the Yankees in that picture, in which case his argument
He's
is
going to lose
it doesn't
this
matter
game.
how few runs I give up, we're going to lose this game.
He's up. The Twins are up 1-0 in the 5th inning, and he's like, I'm going to lose this game.
What? Why? And it continues. The Twins Yankees thing just keeps going on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's Yamamoto. That's a rookie
Hey, look
card.
at that.
There's a rookie card.
Oh, Shinobu.
He looks astonishingly old in that picture. He's not old.
He's like 24, right? He's a very young guy.
He looks very old in that picture. Here, I would argue we might have an even more French name if you talk about Shea Langoliers.
Oh, Shea Langoliers. I don't know. Edouard Julien is still.
It is. Eduardo Julien is still
Edouard
there.
Julien.
Marcus Semien, there you go. Great player. Just
he was so good a couple of years ago. Did he have a good year last year? I kind of lost track of him because of the.
He did not have a great
year.
No, like for him, for sure, he did not have a great year. Like, it wasn't bad, but because he does so many things, but it was not a great year. Who's this guy? I don't even know who that is.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look at
Big
this
Poppy.
Little Big Poppy. There's nothing on the back of the card that sort of separates it out, but Poppy. What does it say about him? Designated hitter, first baseman, in spelled out there on the bottom. That's
technically true.
Technically true.
That I think that man is responsible for more wonderful moments in my life than maybe any other single person. Yeah.
But what about Mookie?
Well, I only had 6 years of Mookie. You know what I mean? Like, I had 20 years.
But you still enjoy Mookie.
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, I mean, everything he does for the Dodgers, I still love. But Ortiz through 04, 07, and 13, and then all of the other moments, the 500th home run and the final year where he had like 1,000 OPS when he was 39 or 40 years old or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I believe people not in my family, I think he's number one for me.
Yeah,
in terms of like good, happy moments.
And being honest, not everybody in your family is even like good.
No, most of them don't make the cut. I mean, I guess Brady's probably up there because of how many Super Bowls they won, how many like last second victories.
Because of your age, you're not going to have Bird in that list, right? Because you got really more old Bird.
Bird was gone by the time I was in college.
Yeah, I'm saying you got mostly old Bird even when you're in your earliest memories, and then. What about like this current Celtics team? Some of these guys have.
Well, it remains to be seen. Like if Tatum stays with the team for 20 years, it's possible he would crack that upper echelon. But it's Ortiz and Brady 1, 2, and then probably Pedro, and then after that, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's Derek White or someone.
All right, we got a Duke Snyder card here. That's kind of a fun thing there. And then this card, I don't know if it has value or not, but that's Shohei Ohtani right there.
Look at that, Shohei.
Look at that beautiful card.
That's a chrome card too. That's a nice card.
It's a chrome card. It's called Wrecking Crew. It's a Wrecking Crew card.
All right.
He has so tell me, agree or disagree to each of these statements it has about Shohei on the back.
Great.
Shohei has a violent yet elegant swing.
Agree.
He adheres to the principles advocated by Ted Williams 75 years ago.
Agree.
His power comes from his legs and hips.
Sure. And also every other part of his human form.
But his upper body strength gives him barrel control and maximum bat speed.
Why doesn't it just say he's the best person who's ever played baseball? He's the best at baseball that's ever played.
I love that they just felt like they had to break down every element. Like, he gets this from his hips, but he gets this from his arms.
We've said this so many times, but it's worth repeating. Having been to a number of Dodger games last year and having at times sat very close to the on-deck circle where the Dodgers players warm up, I think he's the largest man who's ever walked the earth.
Huge.
I think he's like, you don't understand when you see him on TV. He looks like a large man, but you don't really understand. In person, he's a brontosaurus.
Yes.
That's how big he is. He's a brontosaurus-sized man. I don't like it's truly shocking. Like like when he's hitting, like, Mookie's hitting second and he's hitting third, and so they're kind of like standing next to each other. And I know Mookie's like 5'9" or whatever, but it looks like me and my 7-year-old son taking a walk through a park. It's truly shocking. I felt this way about you, Darvish, too. The first time I saw Darvish pitch, I was like, "Oh, that guy's enormous!" Like
Yeah, he's huge.
I had no idea that he was so huge. But Shohei is just on another planet. Like
Yeah,
Freddie Freeman's a big dude. Shohei dwarfs him.
yeah.
It's
No, at
wild.
some point we need to do the people who are much bigger than you think they are, and people who are much smaller than you
Yeah.
think they are. Which,
Yeah.
because it's actually kind of a very funny thing. I always thought Hideki Matsui was much bigger than he actually is. He's not.
He was not an extraordinarily. He was like
I
6
don't
feet
think he's
tall,
a
right?
massive guy.
Yeah.
Like when you saw him, and yeah, the gap between, like, you think Shohei Ohtani's a big guy, but when you see him or stand next to him, you're like, oh, this is
he's a tight end, a large tight end sized baseball player.
Yeah, he's Gronk. He's like
Yeah.
he's basically Gronk. All right, our last two baseball cards of this podcast. We got Tyler Black. I don't need to go into how great Tyler Black is. Brewers fans, you love it. And then Mason Wynn. And listen, Mason Wynn is your hope if you're a Cardinals fan.
That's right.
Mason Wynn is the greatest arm I've ever seen.
Mason Wynn, who is not a big dude, small dude.
Not a big dude at all.
Yeah. But
As
man, can that guy throw.
arm.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's different. Like I guess, like, you see O'Neal Cruz or Ellie Dela Cruz on leash one, and they might be able to throw it miles per hour as hard. Maybe. I'm not sure. But even if they do, they're giant people. So it's like they're throwing their whole body into it. When you see what Mason Wynn does, it looks like a magic trick. I mean, it's crazy how hard that ball
I love that guy, man. That guy's great. All right, here we go.
All right, last football deck.
Pack. I've taken the gloves off because it's too hard to open the cards with the gloves
on. I love that you just said, I'm taking the gloves off. That's it.
Robin Cole of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Very, very faint memory of Robin Cole.
Can we talk for 1 second before we wrap this up about how great it is that the Steelers can't win a playoff game?
Well, let's talk about two things. One, how great it is the Steelers can't win a playoff game, which is awesome. And two, how much they caved in to the Ravens. Like, they had zero chance of ever winning that game.
Yeah.
Ever. Even when they sort of kind of came back a little bit, just because the Ravens just, I don't know what happened.
Russell made a great throw. He made that one really great throw on the sideline. Yeah.
But like, literally from the second when the Steelers won the toss and elected to receive,
weird.
What is happening here? Like, are they even trying to win this game? Like,
they are just, and this is, not the worst thing in the world, but they are doomed to go 10-7 every year and lose in the first round. That's just
and here's the problem with that. If you're a Steeler fan, which I don't care about you if you are a Steeler fan, but here's the problem with that. How do you escape that? Because you don't want to not make the playoffs, right? Like, you always, with him as a coach, you'll always make the playoffs. But they're just not going anywhere.
They as soon as Roethlisberger retired and they decided to patch their team together with cast off quarterbacks, Tomlin's so great, and their defense is always going to be good, and they're gonna keep the 500 or better streak alive forever, and they're never going to be great until they draft a franchise quarterback.
And how are they going to draft one? Because they're never going to be bad enough to draft one.
My fear is that they luck into like a Darnold situation like the Vikings did. Yeah.
Could happen.
But I think they're kind of doomed to just every year they're going to go 10-7. They're going to make the wild card game. They're going to go on the road and they're going to lose to a much better team. It's a weird kind of football purgatory. Here's Leroy Selman. What a terror. Leroy
there's a Hall of Famer for you. Oh, look at that is a great helmet, by the way.
Yeah.
Not only because it's a great Bucks helmet, but with the bars and everything.
Here's Chris Hinton of the Indianapolis Colts.
We went over Chris Hinton. Good player. Very good player. Pro Bowler.
Joe Washington of the Washington
little
Commanders.
Joe Washington. Very good player.
Looking up and to the right as if he just realized that someone is spying on him, and it's very suspicious. Like, what is happening over there? Look at him.
I love that every one of these pictures, like, somebody made the decision, said, that's the one. No, that's the one we're going with.
That represents Joe Washington. Here's Mike Douglas of the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Remember him? He's
Very
a
vague
linebacker.
memory of him.
Linebacker, yeah, outside
Yep.
linebacker. Oh, Tony Collins, the other half of the Patriots rushing attack.
Yes.
The vaunted
Yep.
Patriots rushing attack from
The vaunted
1985.
that team, not enough is made of the fact that team went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, wild.
I mean,
Won 3 road games. They won 3 games on the road.
Games. I mean, that's the Dan Marino Dolphins just not doing anything.
That's right. Everson Walls, another
Everson
famous...
Walls, big time interception guy. Now, Everson Walls is another guy who made a bunch of Pro Bowls.
Yep.
And
he had 11 picks his rookie year. Look at that.
Yeah. Was Everson Walls, was he a Stickum guy? Was he one of the guys that wore Stickum all the time?
Probably.
It seems like he was. 4 Pro Bowls in his first 5 years, and then nothing.
Harry Carson. Terrifying Harry Carson.
Terrifying. Hall of Famer.
God, was
incredible player.
Steve Watson of the Broncos. Remember him, wide receiver.
Yeah, I remember him too. I hate him. Steve Watson. But go back to the Steve Watson card. Go back to him for a second. I think good-looking man.
Pretty good-looking guy.
Pretty good-looking guy. I mean, even with the eye black all over his face.
Smudge. Yep.
Still pulling it off.
No, good-looking guy. Lewis Breeden.
Oh yeah, for the Colts?
The Bengals. Cornerback
Lewis
for the
Breeden,
Bengals.
Yeah. Lewis Breeden was good. Was Lewis Breeden the guy covering John Taylor in the Super Bowl?
Was he really? He got beat on that pass? Oh, that's crazy.
I think he might have been the one that got beat on that pass.
One of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time, Jim Plunkett, ladies and gentlemen.
But is he overrated? He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he was just like a guy who won a Super Bowl, right? So it was like
2 Super Bowls for Jim Plunkett.
Wild.
That's the craziest. He was the first pick of the draft too.
Most yards passing in any year on the back of his card is like 2,900.
Oh yeah, no, he was he did.
But it was a different time. Let's not hold that against Jim Plunkett.
And Jim Plunkett was the first pick, and then he came back and
Freeman McNeil, the great hope of the New York Jets back then.
He was very good for the Jets for a little while there.
Yeah,
Freeman
he had 1,000 yards in '84, and it was like, this is our guy. He made the Pro Bowl. Here's our guy. He's gonna lead us to glory. The New York Jets are going to the Super Bowl.
Hey, when they put the pantheon of all-time New York Jets, Freeman McNeil is 700 places higher than Aaron Rodgers.
Hey, here's Howie Long. Speaking of good-looking men, famously good-looking men.
Famously good-looking man, Hall of Famer.
Hall of Famer.
And by the way, one of 700 people on that pregame show.
That's right. And Randy Cross.
Speaking of announcers, there's Randy Cross.
Randy Cross, is he a Hall of Famer? Is Randy Cross in the Hall of Fame?
I don't believe he is. I do not believe Randy Cross is in the Hall of Fame. But you're just pulling out a
lot of great players in this pack. And then finally, 1,000-yarder gets the ball. It's the Broncos team card. That's who? That's Sammy Winder?
All of those must be sent to me to destroy. All Broncos. I mean, if you're an Elway fan and you want in on these cards, you better.
That could be. Let me just say, I'll put this out there. If you want to donate money, you could request, let's say you're a Browns fan, like Joe used to be. You could say, I would like you to send me all the Broncos cards so I can tear them in half.
I can destroy them.
Yeah, that's totally legitimate.
Absolutely legitimate. Well, this is all right. So this is great. So let's remind everybody one more time before we go. You go to teamgleason.com/podcast. When you get there, you will see a little form to donate money to the great people at Team Gleason who are doing incredible work with ALS and supporting people with ALS all over the country. And particularly right now in Louisiana, of course, where they're based, and LA, where things are pretty dire. Donate. We'd love for you to donate $25. That's the lowest number on the buttons so that you can click. But donate any amount of money. Then fill out the form. Tell us at the bottom who your favorite team is, any other message you want to send us. And you will be entered into a contest, and we will just keep every week coming up with new prizes and new things that will be included in the box. But it'll be worth your while. And
when we next meet, probably next week, we will have continued to open these cards, and we'll give you some highlights of the other cards that we opened that we did not open on camera for you to choose from.
because we're going to want to go for some different sports. So, we're going to try to maybe get a couple of guests to join us on this. So we'll have a lot of fun with that. But we'll keep opening the cards and get you some stuff. But one more time, teamgleason.com/poscast, POSCAST. Donate, please. We'd love it. And Mike, as always, thank you.
Thanks for having me.